I'm impressed. That's about your second cast.
Oh boy.
Did he whack it?
Yeah, the canoe spoon, he really hit it well.
Good. You know what though? He's hooked okay. Do you want me to do the honors?
Sure.
Since he's closer to me. Just because we're in kayaks, you know, you've got, is that a 7-foot rod, 6'6"?
That's a 6'6".
Because sometimes it's hard to get the fish close to you. You got to use the pendulum thing, right? Well, it's amazing. Even a pike that small, that guy's about, I'm guessing, 2 pounds, will hit a spoon that's about 6-8 inches long. Wow. I'm going to get it back in the water. They're really nice, nice and light, probably because of the weeds, lots of weeds on the bottom here.
Very healthy weeds.
This is kind of nice, so we don't have to be too far. I'm just going to get out of your casting backstroke here, and then maybe we'll both cast to the shoreline over there. So what we're doing here, believe it or not, this kayak that I'm in, 13-footer, actually has a sonar. That's what's hiding underneath this sonar shield that's here. It's a Humminbird 385C, so it's a color sonar. And missed him. What a nice hit. Oh, back. And what we're doing is, as you can see, we're actually out in the middle of this pothole lake. James said that out in the middle here, it's about 10 feet deep with weeds, and he's absolutely right. Have you ever come in here with the sonar, James?
I've come in here a couple times with the sonar.
Okay, you don't really need it once you know where everything is.
Absolutely.
This is kind of nice because I know exactly where the weeds are so I can cast to them. Now what I did, I switched to a spinnerbait just to experiment. A lot of people don't realize that Lucky Strike also make really nice spinnerbaits, and I'm using about a 3/8 ounce one here. Look at that, nice northern pike. You know, the nice thing about pike is that they're active throughout the summer and throughout the day. So I'm just going to make sure my line isn't twisted up, because sometimes the line goes around the shaft of the spinnerbait, which takes away the action. I'm going to cast out and I'm going to let it sink a little bit. You know, on our website, especially on the department called Ask Italo, where people type in questions to me and I respond to them, a lot of people that are going on northern trips for pike will ask me, you know, what's one of the best lures and where should I fish for pike? I'm going into a wilderness lake. And I tell them probably that the #1 lure is either a spoon, like a Lucky Strike spoon, or a larger spinnerbait, anything from about a 3/8 ounce up to about a 1 ounce spinnerbait in size. Spinnerbaits are ideal because whether you're casting around weeds on the shoreline or you're fishing out in the open like we are here, you can penetrate any of the water where the pike will be holding. The spoons, of course, are just for casting and retrieving in open water. So James, you can have this non-stop action all day long?
All day, Italo.
Now you know what, a lot of people might think these are really small pike. When you're fishing out of a kayak like this, it's fun. I don't care how small they are, you know?
Well, even the smallest pike will pull you around.
Oh yeah, yeah. My spinnerbait's getting a real beating here. One thing you got to do, especially with spinnerbaits, you're using one now too, right?
That's right.
Yeah, you have to make sure that the arms are straight. So every once in a while, unless you're using a titanium one, where the wires spring back, pretty well even the smaller pike, if they start twisting when you're fighting them, can bend that metal arm, and that'll throw the action off. So it's a good idea just to make sure that it looks like it was when it was in the package, you know, before you started fishing. So the presentation that we're using with these spinnerbaits is real simple. All we're doing is casting and retrieving. So we're letting our spinnerbait sink a little bit and just a steady retrieve back. Working weeds that are growing in 7 to 10 feet of water, right out in the open. James, are you still getting any hits?
I've just missed 2 in a row.
It's funny, maybe because of the bright skies, they're not really nailing them.
Yeah, they're aggressive, but they're just not committing to it.
Yeah, yeah. So I tried slowing down my retrieve. You know, there's a lot, we're fishing a pothole lake, it's a natural one, and you said this one's probably spring-fed, right?
This one is spring-fed.
I've got a lot of friends that fish reservoirs in southern Ontario. Most of the reservoirs are man-made, you know, and they're on river systems like the Grand River, Conestoga Lake, Guelph Lake, up in Guelph, Ontario. And they get some really nice pike. So this is actually what this reminds me of, only this is a natural lake. Have you ever tried ice fishing here?
You know, I have tried ice fishing here, and for the number of pike in this lake, it's actually a slow fishery.
Ah, okay. How deep is the lake in the deepest part?
Well, I've marked the deepest spot in this lake is 65 feet.
Wow. Nice lake.
Fisher girl! Catch the passion!
If you're planning to release the fish you catch, it's really important that you have the right tools. For example, what I'm holding up in my hand is called a jaw spreader. Right now it's in the closed position. All a jaw spreader is a piece of stainless steel wire, and it's a pretty strong gauge, and it's coiled in the spring. So watch what happens when I open this up. It actually spreads apart because of the tension. So we're going to pretend that my hand is the fish's mouth, so we've just spread it open in case it took that lure or bait too deep. Now though, how do we get it out?
I'm glad you asked. You actually are going to use something like these needle nose pliers,
Yeah.
just to go inside to avoid your fingers getting caught in the teeth or whatnot.
Yeah.
Gently pull out whatever's caught.
Yeah.
And you're also going to use a net. So once you've landed your fish, place it in the net, and you take out the lure, and then you're going to gently put it back in the net, and then back in the water and release.
That way you'll ensure that the fish that you catch is going to survive and other people can catch it.